Hello, everyone, and welcome to the B.Addresses podcast. So, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about power dynamics. Yeah, so we are exploring power dynamics and to what extent they're good and also not good for a relationship, right? So, let's get on into it, shall we? So, power dynamics are, in simple terms, power dynamics is a way of defining who has the upper hand in two people's, relationship, you understand? And these people could be the external party in terms of their relatives, their friends, whoever has the ability to influence their decisions, yeah? So, that may in turn affect the course of their relationship, you understand? So in simple terms, that's just how we define power dynamics. It's who has the upper hand in that relationship. What made me choose this topic is yesterday I was just talking to this other neighbor of mine. We had a very in-depth conversation, one that was full of insights, and yeah, to me I actually learned a lot concerning power dynamics and how it in turn affects the whole thing. So I was just thinking that sometimes we have people who care about us, who love us, who want the best for us, but then at the same time we have two people who are actually in a relationship with each other and they want to explore that relationship and see how far it can go in terms of long term. I'm not talking about short term here, I'm talking about long term relationships. Yeah, and these people have the ability to influence whether the girl or the guy in that specific relation. Let's say something happens, a situation arises, and either parties with on the girl side or on the guy side, they actually influence them to actually let go of the relationship, that type of thing. Yeah, you might adhere to that advice, but then at the end of the day, the heart wants what it wants, and in the long run you end up believing that, I think we could have just talked, things would have been easier if we could just have sat down, both of us, and could have just conversated about this instead of going overboard and involving people who might blow things out of proportion, that type of thing. I was like, it makes sense, because so many relationships collapse because people in the relationship don't give each other the opportunity to actually sit down and talk about whatever is the issue in that relationship. They rush to just confide in people who will act irrationally, out of their love for that particular person, and they intervene without knowing that when you intervene and all your emotions are up to the max, they end up influencing or they end up changing the course of that relationship. Because these people, they are not bad people. Hey, please don't misquote me. These are good people who want the best for both people in the relationship, yeah, but then the way they intervene may blow things out of proportion. And I am like, because when they intervene, their emotions are up to the mark. They are projecting them out of their love and concern for their daughter, or I don't know, their son, or I don't know, their friend, or whatever, and then at the end of the day, these two people are deprived of the opportunity to actually sit down and talk about that. Some things, I think it's better to just sit down and talk about them before intervening, or before confiding in people who might intervene and later on ruin that relationship. Because sometimes people, like I said, they act out of concern, and then they don't use wisdom in that particular moment because they want the best for both parties. They're just overwhelmed, depending on the situation that may have arisen, and all of these other things. So what am I saying? I think what I've learned is before you actually confide in somebody, actually talk to the person you're with in a relationship. Figure things out, the two of you, what you want, because you're both adults and you know what you want. I believe these people, the external party, should actually intervene when there is a need, or when the need arises, or when the situation actually becomes worse, you understand, and there's a need for intervention. But then at the end of the day, it's two people who know what they want. They're grown, and I think it's really fair to give them the chance to actually sort out their differences, just the two of them, without other people intervening in the situation. Because sometimes you may just confide in somebody, they don't know the background of what really happened, what really took place, and then they just act as a result of what they have been told. And in turn, like I said, down the line, we've seen how some people allow some people to have the upper hand in their relationship with that person, and now as time goes on, you realize that, oh boy, I lost something that was valuable to me, due to the way people blew it out of proportion. And now trying to solve it, or now trying to talk to that person, or reaching out to that person, it no longer works, because already that person has had enough. Maybe the external party may have said something that is literally hurtful to them. People say stuff when they're angry, right? Or when they're trying to put their point across, right? They say certain things that hurt the other people. Yeah, so it's just messy, So I think the first thing is, those who are in the relationship should actually sit down and talk, number one. Number two, those who are actually intervening shouldn't intervene out of their emotions. They should actually try to understand both sides of the matter, and not, just project their emotions based on what they've heard from the other side. They should just balance the equation, because you need to hear both sides of the coin to be able to give a proper verdict that may be, beneficial and actually make the relationship work. You understand? Number three, they should use wisdom also, because emotions, they end up allowing you to speak irrationally. You make irrational decisions and all of these other things, which may affect both people involved. And we don't want to leave both people in the relationship scarred for life. This is not what we want. We want the decision, that will actually benefit both parties at the end of the day. So what am I saying? When we are confiding in people, let's make sure that things are not going to be blown out of proportion. And those who are intervening should make sure that they're intervening using wisdom, not out of emotions. And then they should keep their personal preferences aside. For example, maybe that person does not believe that, this person is good for my friend, or this person is good for my daughter or my son. They now use that as an opportunity to actually break the two up. So I feel like that also plays a part in that. Let's keep our personal preferences aside, because this is a matter between two grown people, I believe. Like I said, I keep saying it, who actually want to explore and see how this goes. You were not there when these people actually met, so now just because they are now projecting, out of, I don't know, pain, maybe a situation actually came up and they're just hurt in the moment, and you want to intervene in that. I feel like it's high time we actually intervene using wisdom, and we also make sure that the decision we actually make shouldn't hurt the relationship. It shouldn't influence both parties to actually make a decision that they won't like, or hinder them from actually solving their own problems. You understand? Because we've seen people who actually when your friend actually came and told me this, it wasn't nice, and all of these other things, when people could just easily solve their issues by just sitting down. They talk, they converse, they talk about that, and they solve their issues. You understand? So these are just my 2 cents off the record. And so those who intervene, I'll leave these words: intervene wisely, intervene in a way that is going to leave the both of the individuals in the relationship feeling satisfied and feeling heard, don't focus on one side of the coin. Try to understand both sides of the coin so that you'll be able to give a proper verdict. And also don't project, out of your disapproval for that person, or you believe that this person is not good enough for this person. Remember, you are also flawed, and you are not coming in to this equation as God or as someone who is superior. You are coming here as a mediator who's trying to come, in between two people and help them to make amends, not break the thing. You understand? Because at the end of the day, the heart wants what it wants. And these people, also I wanted to say that, I said, you are not there when these people actually met too. You are not there when these people actually met. So allow them to actually move their issues, Okay, so on behalf of the B.Addresses podcast, there will be more that are actually coming, off the record type of conversations with, of course, me, B.Addresses, the one, the only sassiest host of my show. So basically, we are going to be bringing more topics that will actually, I think, be of benefit to the people and those who are actually in relationships. And these may be derived from perhaps B.Addresses' own personal experiences, you understand, that I've actually learned that, whoa, this thing can actually contribute to a lot of hurt and all of these other things. So from the B.Addresses podcast and B.Addresses, I bid you farewell and a beautiful night.